here with SOTA, and he doesn't know what to do with his hands. We're here at Kezaentertainment Studios, and we're gonna get to know SOTA a little bit. SOTA, who are you?
I am SOTA. Original name Brandon, last name Nadal. My family's from Spain, Argentina, the U.S., a little bit of both.
Nice. And where did you get your name SOTA from?
When I first started out, people said, don't forget where you came from. And initially, when I had first started out, my name was SOTA's Finest. And I was 12, 13. So I actually went through a few different names. I was DJ Quicksand. I was Sweet and Low.
Wait, hold on. DJ Quicksand?
Yeah.
So, okay, let's start with that. Why did you get that name?
So first of all, I started off playing the drums. That's what I started with. My mom bought me an acoustic set of drums, and I wasn't that good, so within a week I had an electric set so I could put headphones on. And after I gave that up, I went to DJing. So I tried the whole DJ thing. I had some Technique 1200s, and so that's how I started DJing and actually really getting into hip-hop music. So I DJ'd for a little bit, and then I went to making beats, and then from making beats on Fruity Loops, I started to write to them, and that's where I found out that I love writing, and that was my passion. It was a great outlet for me. I felt I could express myself the best through music, so I went with being a recording artist.
That's awesome. So that leads me to my next question. When did the music bug bite you? So when did you fall in love with hip-hop?
I'd have to say when Bone Thugs came out with East 1999, that was the first cassette tape that I ever bought. It wasn't even a CD, it was in a cassette case. I remember my dad even saying the parental advisory, he had to go buy it for me because I wasn't old enough. So I would say like I was probably 8 or 9 at the time. Yeah, 8 or 9 years old.
That's when you fell in love with
That's
hip-hop.
when I started to really listen and dissect the words. You know, I would open up back then they would put the lyrics inside the cases, you know, inside the pamphlets and all that.
Yeah.
So I would actually read the lyrics and then try to rap them. And so I started rapping along, and I never knew I would create music until I got older. And like I said, I started making beats and then started writing to them and figuring I could actually make music and express myself.
And how old were you when that first happened?
So I wrote my first song when I was 12 years old. It's called A House Ain't a Home. I remember like yesterday. I was young, so I was 12 years old. It went like a house ain't a home until the parents are gone. Call your friends on the phone and tell them what's going on. There's a party at 12. Just ring the doorbell. They'll be sure to get in real swell. So that was like my first. Yeah, that was like I remember awesome. Even like when I came up with it, exactly where I was. I was actually in West Virginia visiting family, and I have an uncle who does bluegrass music. So he had a studio, and I was making beats at the time, and like I said, I really started writing when I was up there, and it just came into place when I hit the studio. It was a professional studio, and I just remember the creation process was really like addicting to me, and just watching it all come together from a thought to on the paper to getting in the booth and recording the lyrics, and then having to mix it, master it. You know, it was just a really cool process. I never knew that really went into it, so when I did it, it was just a blessing to have the opportunity to have that, and that's where it came from.
So that's when the bug bit you.
That's when the bug.
And then you got addicted.
I got addicted.
What were some artists that you liked growing up?
So like I said, Bone Thugs and Harmony. Their fast cadence really got me. I thought it was so cool. Plus their harmonies. But I would say top three. Tupac, definitely Outkast, and I would say Bone Thugs. Those would be the three.
Those are good ones.
Yeah.
Those are really good ones.
Yeah.
And what did your mom listen to music-wise growing up?
My mom's really cool. So she listened to a lot of stuff I listened to, but she did mix it up with a little bit of Pink Floyd, Tracy Chapman, stuff like that. So, but she listened to a lot of hip-hop and R&B. So she's my biggest fan today.
That's awesome. That's what's up. Okay, so when you first started music, what did that feel like? The momentum, like how did it go? What was the first show you did?
Wow. So first show I did, I was probably 15 years old. 15 years old, I did my first show, and somebody actually hired me for their Sweet 16 party.
Wait, for the record, how old are you now?
I'm 33.
33.
33 now.
Okay. And so go ahead. It was someone's sweet 16 party.
So yeah, I got hired for a Sweet 16 party. That was my first gig, and it was a paid gig, so that was a good way to start. But you know, I just learned from there, and then I started booking my own shows. And I was 16 when I booked my first show. I was in a club I couldn't even really get into legally, and but my music was way different back then. It was cool. It was fun though. It was a good experience.
Nice.
Yeah.
And then from there, did you start doing a lot of shows heavily?
Not really. That was back in the MySpace days. So I was
when did it really pop off for you?
I would say the City Boy days.
Yeah. All right. And tell us about that. What is that?
So, 18 years old. My best friend Chris had a studio at our friend Joe's house, and he was starting to record people. And that's actually where I met Youngin. Well, not where I met Youngin. Me and Youngin go back to middle school, so it's kind of like a reunion type deal when we first met at the studio. And so yeah, City Boys was 2008, I would say. Yeah, 2008. And we started going to the clubhouse and booking every week. So we were doing shows every week. It was really good practice. And then we started doing our own shows outside of that and taking it out of Sarasota. That was a good time.
So there was a lot of momentum in that time.
Oh yeah, we put a mixtape together with DJ Purifier. That was way back. And it did really well. The Stop Sleeping mixtape, City Boys World. It did really good, especially out in Germany, which was really weird. And we just didn't know how to take that and make it into something. So after a while, things kind of fizzled out, and we all kind of went our own ways, you know.
And then since I know you personally, I know that when things fizzled out, you laid low for a little bit. You still were in music, in and out, but you did lay low for a little while. Yeah. What was your thought process? What were you feeling about music during that time where your momentum kind of slowed down?
Yeah, well, I mean, honestly, I've had a few shifts like that. There was the shift before City Boys, and then City Boys got me back into it. After City Boys fizzled out, I lost my way a little bit, but through that, it actually motivated me to make State of the Art 1, and it did really well. So it led me to doing State of the Art 1, had a big rise. It did really good, and I kind of felt like the momentum was going to keep going. The money was going to keep coming in. Albums were going to keep being sold. And it just wasn't like that, you know. It was I got comfortable, and after I blew through all my money and I didn't have money to reinvest, I had to get a job, and you know, from there I let a friend, you know, talk me into letting the music thing go. Nothing's ever gonna happen with music. Just give it up, you know.
Oh, those friends.
Yeah. So you know, but it's all part of my journey, and it's all part of everyone's journey. You got to pick yourself out of that funk, and you got to find yourself, and then finding yourself, and if it's your true passion, it's just going to happen. Because like for me, music was more than just something I wanted to do to be cool and get out there and make money. Like I said, music for me was an outlet for me to express myself, and it's helped me through depression and just life in general. When I'm going through something, I write about it, and I think it's nice for people to have that outlet, like whether it's writing lyrics or painting or whatever it may be, photography. You gotta have an outlet.
So is that what sparked you off now to where your push is now? Because you did have a few up and down ways, which is a lot for especially artists pushing longevity and not short term. And I would say, knowing you at this time, you have a tremendous new spark in your grind, in your push. What really triggered that new push? That's like your whole new, because I see it. You have merch now. You have an online presence. You're plotting really big things for the future. What made this shift happen?
A lot of things. When I had lost faith in myself, it took me a while to get out of that funk. You know, got in a few relationships, and honestly, I started working with this artist. A friend of mine has always asked me. You know, a lot of people ask me, can you hear my son? Can you check out my music? Can you do this? Can you do that? And I really don't have time to do it because I haven't made it myself, and I don't want to lead someone into a path that's
correct. That you have made it. It's just maybe you're not where you exactly want to be.
Yeah.
Because that's the big thing we all as artists and entertainers and creators have to remember. As long as you're doing your love, you're doing it.
Right.
You just may not have reached certain goals.
Right.
So I had to jump in.
Right. No.
But I understand that people reaching out because they're inspired by you.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, that's the whole thing. man, I could go back to the EPOD thing. So after I had left where I was working for 6 years, I started doing a hip hop R&B soul band, the EPOD band, and I was inspired to do that by Damien Chantel from John Movement, and that was a blessing because I met so many great people, musicians, artists alike, to put this all together, and people really believed in me to the point where they would drive an hour out of the way for practices and never ask for money, and until we had paid gigs and I was able to pay, and we did really well. Within a year we did about 15 grand, and then coronavirus hit, and that's what really kind of made me have to sit back and recalculate things, because after we couldn't do shows, we were doing like 2 shows a week, and it was really doing well. But then when coronavirus hit, I kind of had to take a step back, and I had posted a picture of my State of the Art shirt from when I put my album out, and people were like, oh man, where can I get that? When are you putting out new music? And I'm like, what am I doing, you know? So I saw an outlet I created a Shopify store, you know, putting people on game. Shopify, great way to get your stuff out there into a store, because brick and mortars aren't doing it anymore. I guess I'm going off on a tangent.
No, that's okay. So it just came from like just what sparked you back off. So it would be a series of things. So EPOD, it was, and then it sounds like
it was the EPOD
the
band.
merge.
But then also between now, I'm missing something.
The artist that you were working with.
I was working with Zach. I was working with Zach Ocean, and so his mom kept asking me probably for 4 or 5 years to check her son out, and not even that long, maybe a year or so. And his birthday came up, and they had hired me to provide the music, so I did that. And I saw Zach, and I've known Zach because I knew him since he was a little kid, but I just didn't think anything of it. But I gave him a second. I was like, hey, Zach, can you rap something for me? And he did it. And I was pretty impressed. I'm not going to lie. Because he said something, in his music. And for me, I hear a lot of people rap, but I don't really hear him because it's not something I want to listen to, if that makes sense. So when he said what he said and did what he did, I was like, record, write down 3 songs. And we'll go to the studio and we'll record them. And he wrote like 5 songs within like a week's time. So he really inspired me. When I was in the studio, I was writing to his songs, and we actually did a few songs together. But after he's also like a star. Oh man, I don't even know where to start. He's also like a star athlete, and he's a great kid, smart. So he's got a scholarship to FGCU, and he'd rather do that than pursue his music right now, as far as like putting it out. Because I was ready to release it and everything, and he's like, no, let's hold off. And for me, that was hard, because for me,
you put a lot of energy into that project.
And not even that. Like, if I was in his position when I was his age with the support and what he had, I just would have taken off with it, Yeah. But I also didn't have the opportunities he had. Yeah. And when I really thought about it, I even told him, I was like, you have an opportunity that most people don't have. You got to go to school, man. You got to do this. And he's really, he took it a step above that and stopped doing the music as far as like putting it out and stuff. So that was like a very smart, mature move for him. But for me, it was hard to understand because I was so ready to go. And I had all this momentum, so I was ready to put it out. And we had put out one song, By Your Side, which did really well too. And that's why I was so like ready to go. I saw what could be and what will be eventually. But after that, I was like, what am I going to do? Because I got to do something. So
because you already had now this energy.
Yeah,
this
I'm
momentum.
ready to push.
So bam, that's where it hit. That's the spark.
And like the spark, and that's the thing. When you have that spark, you just got to go with it. You can't let it go away, because once it goes, it's tough to get back. It's really, really tough to get back. So
actually, that kind of leads me to my next thing.
Okay.
The hurdles. So now that you have this spark and you have all those high and lows that you've gone through, what have been some hurdles to keep your spark going, to keep your momentum going? And I'll let you finish
some hurdles. So one of the things I did was a Shopify store to sell my merch, my shirts, my hats, and all that. And the fact that we're in a pandemic and people aren't really making the money they're used to making, and they're buying my shirts for $30. I got orders coming in for $50, $75, and awesome. Out of nowhere, and I can't sit there and look at that and be like, okay, I'm not gonna. You gotta be inspired by that. When people believe in you enough to give you their money because they know they believe in you, they just believe, and you can't fake that. So for me, it was just such motivation. So I had all these songs, and I also started creating again. I started writing like crazy. I'm in the best relationship of my life. I'm in the best shape of my life. I got off Facebook for a while. like for a month, a little bit over a month, and that helped me out big time. And I'm gonna do it again when I release the album because you really gotta get away and disconnect.
Yeah, I was gonna ask you, how do you regroup and self-care? Disconnect.
Man. Yeah. I disconnected, and it's crazy when you disconnect from that. You connect with reality because what you see on the screen is not what it is. You know, whether it's the TV screen or your phone screen, it's just not what it is. You know, it's not at all. So I actually started making the most momentum when I was off Facebook. So when I came back on, it was weird how like the momentum picked up so fast. So
could you tell us a little bit of how that worked out when you signed off social media? Because people are so used to being present online, pushing out content, being in people's faces. Why and how during your self-care, regroup, disconnect moment would you say is how the momentum picked up? I know it's different
because I was more productive. Because that's when the creativity started flowing, and I started to create again. Because in the past, what I was creating felt really redundant, and I had to experience new things and kind of regroup. I feel like disconnecting made my mind shift and clear. You know, I did a lot of meditating, like I said, I'm getting back in shape. Obviously, swole. But in all honesty,
yeah, that's great. You know, sometimes you disconnect, regroup, and self-care is actually everything. I think during Corona that helped a lot of people that actually had to not work or lost their jobs. They were forced to self-care and regroup, and I think it has sparked so much momentum in everybody's creativity. So that's great that you're confirming that, because that definitely does help.
Well, I feel like creatives and people that are able to tap into some type of source that they can express themselves, people can monetize anything. So people are learning that in this day and age, especially with a lot of businesses getting rid of their brick and mortar store. Everything's online.
Yeah.
And if you have the ability to reach people, you know, you can make a living off of it. Right. So you just got to do it right and market correctly, you know.
So let's talk about your new release coming out. Do you have a release date for it? What is it called? Tell us a little bit about that.
So first of all, you can check out State of the Art 1 on Spotify and iTunes. That's another thing that sparked me to getting into it. When I checked my back office on my Spotify, I saw the streams I was getting without promoting, and I'm like, I already have money coming in. Why don't I just use this as a platform to promote? Because even if 40,000 people heard my music before, there's millions of people in the U.S., so hundreds of millions. So it really only reached a fraction of people. So I started pushing it again, and for a lot of people, it's new. It's really cool to meet new fans and have them ask me questions about stuff I made 5-6 years ago. It's crazy. So I started doing State of the Art 2 now. I just linked up with DJ Sandman and Symphonic out of Tampa. So we're doing Illsbro, that's his label. Illsbro with SOTA Music Group, and through Symphonic Distribution, we're gonna bring this album to you guys on a larger platform than I've ever done before. So it's gonna be released 10/23/20. Check it out. State of the Art 2. We'll have pre-orders available soon. Also, we'll be doing a release party here at Keza Studios, Kezaentertainment Studios. Shout out to Nat Keza. So we got that going. State of the Art 2. I got features from Skinny DeVille from Nappy Roots on there. I got Nat Keza, Youngin, Ayo Santiago, Lean One, Tiana Green. It's gonna be a good album. It's gonna be a really, really solid album.
I'm excited for your listening party. That's gonna be dope.
I'm excited for my listening party.
Facts. So how can people find more of you, music-wise, Instagram? What's your handles?
Dope. First of all, sotamerch.com. Check it out. Go on there and use the promo code. Use the promo code Nat Keza 15. Get you 15% off. Also, proceeds go to Kezaentertainment Studios. Right. So sotamerch.com. Also on Instagram at The Real Soda, and that's the same as for Facebook at The Real Soda. So check me out, sotamerch.com.
Oh, awesome. Do you have any last words that you want to just tell somebody about anything? Just like anything free form you want to say?
Yeah, just push. Don't stop. Keep pushing. if you don't have an outlet, find it. Find yourself. Like I said, I know it sounds crazy. Disconnect sounds corny, probably. Oh, whatever. It's just Facebook, but it's more than just Facebook. You really feed your mind what you see all day. And honestly, let's be honest. It's all negativity on Facebook. Not a lot of friendship at all, if you think about it. So, disconnecting and finding yourself, your true purpose, and going after it, and even when it gets hard and tough and you're gonna fall, everybody falls. You gotta get back up, you gotta keep pushing. It sounds so cliche, but I've been doing this for over 15 years, and just now am I really starting to reap the fruits and the benefits of my hard work from back then. And someone did tell me that overnight success takes 15 years, and it might not take 15 years for everybody, but it's just a metaphor that it takes time. Nip Hustle said it's a marathon, so just keep pushing, don't stop. If this is really what you want to do, give it your all. I used to spend my last $5, $10 on whatever I could with music. If it was buying graphics, buying beats, buying studio time, I went broke many times because I believed in myself that much, and that's a thing of the past. So thank you guys for your help and your support, and SOTAmerch.com.